Buried by time and dust, 12 legends return from the shadows, revived by AI, and brought to life once more. The West never slept, and its ghosts never rested. Kit Carson wasn't loud. He didn't need to be. With steely eyes and silent steps, he mapped the Wild West as a scout, guide, and legend. He traversed deserts, climbed snow-packed passes, and led expeditions that would define American expansion. Native tribes respected his cunning. Soldiers trusted his instincts. Carson was a ghost in buckskin, moving unseen, changing history one footprint at a time. Another tale etched itself into the land of gunpowder and grit. Geronimo wasn't just a warrior. He was a storm in human form. As a leader of the Apache people, he fought against both U.S. and Mexican forces for decades. With unmatched bravery and tactical brilliance, he led daring raids to protect his homeland, defying impossible odds. Even after capture, his name echoed through the West as a symbol of unbroken will. To this day, Geronimo stands not just as a man of war, but as a spirit of defiance. Out of silence rode a figure the wind dared not follow. He was once an outlaw's friend, then became his executioner. Pat Garrett, the lawman who shot Billy the Kid, didn't just enforce justice, he redefined it. With eyes cold as steel and a heart torn by duty, Garrett walked the thin line between fame and betrayal. Was he a hero or a traitor to his own kind? One bullet made him a legend, but history never forgave him. Justice wore many faces, and none were ever clean. Calamity Jane, born Martha Jane Canary, she was the Wild West in human form. Wearing buckskin and armed with grit, she rode hard, drank harder, and shot straighter than most men. She smoked, cursed, and fought with a fury few dared to match, yet she nursed the sick and rode with soldiers. Truth and myth blurred around her name. But one thing stayed clear. She didn't just survive the West, she became it. In the burning sun, a storm was waiting to strike. He was a Southern gentleman turned deadly gunslinger. Doc Holliday, gambler, dentist, and a man with a cough full of death. With tuberculosis eating him alive, he walked into every gunfight like it was already his last. Sharp-tongued, quick-draw, and loyal to a fault. He wasn't just Wyatt Earp's right hand, he was the wild card of the West, a dying man who never backed down. The dust hadn't settled, and a new story was already riding in. Wyatt Earp wasn't just a lawman, he was the embodiment of frontier justice. With his steely gaze and iron will, he tamed some of the West's wildest towns and left behind not just stories, but legends. He's best remembered for the gunfight at the OK Corral that transformed the dusty streets into sacred ground. But beneath the badge lay a man shaped by loss, revenge, and a relentless search for order amid chaos. Even silence has an echo in the land of guns and ghosts. She shattered targets and expectations. Annie Oakley, the girl who could outshoot any man, rose from poverty to worldwide fame with a rifle in hand and fire in her heart. In the roaring arenas of the Wild West, she hit every mark with grace and deadly precision. She didn't just perform, she proved that courage, not strength, defines a true sharpshooter. She was more than a legend. She was the bullet that broke every boundary. Behind every silence, the West whispered a new name. With eyes like cold steel and a presence that froze saloons silent, Wild Bill Hickok was more myth than man. Gunslinger, lawman, gambler, he walked the fine line between chaos and order, always one heartbeat away from a gunfight. His legend was carved with bullets and bravado, but his fate came quietly. Shot in the back during a poker game. He died holding aces and eights, the dead man's hand. The West didn't run on law, it ran on reputation. He wasn't just a chief, he was the heartbeat of a nation. Sitting Bull, The Lakota warrior who defied an empire stood with unshakable spirit as his people's last great shield. He saw visions of victory before the Battle of Little Bighorn and turned prophecy into history. Calm, proud, unyielding. His voice echoed louder than gunfire. One bullet could end a feud or start a legend. He moved like a shadow, struck like lightning. The Sundance Kid, fast with a gun, faster with a getaway. As Butch Cassidy's silent right hand, he robbed trains, dodged posses, and vanished into legend. Calm under fire, deadly when cornered, he wasn't just an outlaw. He was the ghost of the dying Wild West. And when the law finally caught up, he chose bullets over surrender. In the dust and heat, only the fastest survived. Bat Masterson wasn't your typical Wild West gunslinger. With a bowler hat, a cane, and a sharp wit, he brought style to the dusty frontier. As a lawman in Dodge City and a friend of Wyatt Earp, he kept the peace with a cool hand and a steady trigger. But Bat traded bullets for a typewriter. Moving east, he became a celebrated sports writer in New York City, a symbol of the West reborn in the modern world. Even in a suit and tie, the legend of Bat Masterson never lost its edge. The Wild West lives on, in stories, in legends, and here. Subscribe to ride with us through history's untamed frontier.